So the Lakers just suffered what is, in some ways, probably their worst loss of the season, a game that they basically had won in the final minute of overtime and basically found a way to lose. Despite a really phenomenal performance by LeBron, another one of those performances that makes you go, there's no way this guy's about to be 40 years old. Like, I know I just made a video talking about his father time catching up to LeBron. Well, he shut me up tonight. A couple of bad games earlier this week and last week, yes, but tonight he was amazing, especially on the offensive end of the court. Had what, a 39-point triple-double, like a ridiculously incredible LeBron performance. And AD had a really good game too, and they still lost. Now, I actually think the Hawks are pretty good. I made a video on the Hawks a couple days ago. Been very impressed by them as of late. They've now won 6 straight. At the same time, this is a game they had won. This is a game they should have won, and it's a game they needed to win with the struggles the Lakers have been having as of late. Instead, they lose in about the most heartbreaking way possible, and it leaves me sitting here wondering at this point, what's the path forward for the Lakers? Like, I truly believe that the Lakers are kind of at an impasse this year, and the trade deadline this year is going to be very telling about the future of this franchise. Before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. Not 40,000, that's my 2K channel. 1,000 subscriber mark on the channel. Uploading multiple videos a day, every single day, trying to get this channel monetized. We're real close to 1K. In fact, we might have already hit it by the time y'all see this video, but if not, we're like probably less than 10 subscribers away. So we really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. I'm going to breeze through some stats and some numbers and talk about the Lakers real quickly, and then I'm going to talk about what I think they might want to consider for the future. First things first. In their loss against the Hawks tonight, 38 points for AD, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 15 to 27 from the field. LeBron goes 14 to 25, 6 of 11 from 3, which is a far cry from the 0 of 19 streak that he was on just a couple games ago. 10 rebounds, 11 assists, 39 points. Amazing. And then Rui Hachimura has an efficient game. Gabe Vincent had his best game of the year. Dalton Knecht had a solid game. They get a total of 17 bench points as compared to the Hawks, 65 off the bench. And it just very much underscores the desperate need that this team has for real bench ability. They just don't have a lot of depth, and it really hurts this team because, as we're going to get to, trade possibilities for this team are going to, in all likelihood, decimate this team's depth even more if you're trying to upgrade the top end talent of this roster. And it leaves the Lakers in a really interesting spot as the season progresses. So, first things first. Let's just talk about this team and where they are. They are in a situation right now where they're 12 and 11. They're in the 10 seed. They're right there, a game ahead of being out of the play-in entirely. The Kings and the Spurs both look competitive. The Timberwolves have been much better as of late. The Nuggets have Jokic. Unless he gets hurt, they're going to be solid no matter what. The Suns, yes, KD's injured again, but they look like a pretty solid team. I think they're probably going to be a playoff team. Clippers have been surprisingly resilient and competitive and likely will get Kawhi back at some point in the relatively near future. The Warriors look like they're probably going to lose to the Timberwolves tonight, but we'll see as I'm recording this video. That game's currently going on. And they look pretty good, though. This season, I was very impressed by their win a couple nights ago. And I think they've been really, really solid. And then the top 4 seeds, Thunder, Rockets, Mavs, Grizzlies, I feel like are all pretty confident playoff teams at this point. The Lakers could easily be the odd man out and could easily, I think at best, are going to find themselves in the play-in realistically. And in a very, very tough Western Conference, wouldn't be shocked if they missed the playoffs entirely. And even if they did, with the roster constructed, even if they did make the playoffs, the way the roster is right now, they're not doing anything besides losing in the first round. Like, plain and simple. That's the honest truth. This team doesn't have any other higher hopes with the roster they have right now. Beyond that, I don't think it's JJ Redick's fault, by the way, at all. I think this roster has the same problems that they've had for the last 2 or 3 years. And that is just that they are not a good defensive team and they're not all that deep. Let's look at numbers. Defensive rating. They have the 5th worst defensive rating in the league. What do the 4 teams above them all have in common? They're bad teams who are not really looking to win games this year, with the exception of the Pelicans, kind of, but with all their injuries, they've been terrible as well. So they have the 5th worst defensive rating in the league. That's a bad sign. Number 2. Oh, and by the way, if you look at every other team in the bottom 10, every other team is a bad team. They're right in there mixed in with all the bad teams. Not only that, they have not a great offensive rating either. 113.2. They're hovering around the top 10-ish. They're a top 15 offense. They're average to slightly above average offense. So they're a really bad defensive team that's not very good offensively either. When you look at the net rating, they have the 7th worst net rating in the entire league. Every single team below them is a tanking team or an injured team or a combination of the two. They're below the Raptors. They're below the Pacers. They're below the Bulls, the Nets, the Pistons. Yikes. The numbers do not look good for this Lakers team. And so that leaves you in a very interesting spot as this season progresses. I think there are 2 paths forward for this Lakers team. The first path would be to try to find a way to upgrade this roster this year. And I'm going to be totally honest, I think the only way that happens is if they combine Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell's contracts. I know Reeves has a lot of value. He's a very good young player. The beautiful thing about Reeves in terms of a trade talk is that his contract is very, very palatable for a lot of NBA teams, and D'Lo is an expiring contract. So those two guys combined could already get you over $30 million in contracts for trade. You throw in Rui as well, and you're well over 40. Will they trade all three of those guys? I don't know. But that's the path, is using Austin Reeves' trade value with an elite contract that has 2 more years of team control at least after this year, maybe even a third, at a very, very reasonable, like less than $15 million a year rate, incredible value contract that would be an absolutely incredibly appealing to a contract for any NBA team. The problem with trading those guys is if you do that, you have to find a way to get multiple guys of value back. And I don't know if there's a path to getting multiple guys of value who are going to maintain or improve your depth while also improving your top end potential, especially trading away your third best player in Reeves. I don't see that. I just don't. And look, the one team that to me is interesting is the Utah Jazz, because they could get Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler. Colin Sexton being a hard-nosed point of attack defender as well as a really high effort, high energy guy could be a huge piece. Walker Kessler would solve the big man issues once and for all, provide them with a big time rim protector as well. It would help out the defensive end of the court as well. I think those two guys make sense for this Lakers team. The problem is to get both of them, it's not going to be cheap. You know what I'm saying? That might be a Reeves plus pick type package potentially. I don't really know exactly what it'd look like, but that's the only team to me that I see off the top of my head, at least, that looks like a big, really good match for the Lakers in terms of giving them guys who will actually help them out on the defensive end of the court and maintain depth. The other option, and I know this is going to be a hot take, and it's not as a LeBron fan the take that I want to hear, and it's probably not the take that y'all as Laker fans or Bron fans want to hear either if you are that watching this video. The other take is to trade Anthony Davis. He is 31 years old, still in the prime of his career, playing for the most part some of the best basketball of his career. He has been healthy really for a while now. Defensively, he is as elite as ever. Offensively, he's one of the better players in the league. I mean, he is, plain and simply, he's a top 10 player in basketball. One of the more valuable players in the league, still in all likelihood in terms of trades. They would get a king's ransom for him, but they would also not be good. They trade Anthony Davis, they lose their best player. I'm going to be totally honest. LeBron is on certain nights their best player, but overall their best player is Anthony Davis. It would give them an opportunity to build toward the future, but it would also kind of mean giving up on giving LeBron one more shot at making a run for a championship. But I think long term, that would be the best decision for the Lakers. Is it the decision that they will make? I would put, if I was a betting man, I would bet on no. I find that very unlikely. But is it the decision that I would strongly consider? 100%. I think it is a very, very interesting proposition for the Lakers to trade Anthony Davis. And I think it would open up a world of possibilities for this team, both now and in the future, but it would also kill their championship window entirely in all likelihood. So it proposes a very fascinating debate and discussion, I think, for what this team is going to do. And you know what? I am personally fascinated to see what the future is for this Lakers franchise, because they have some serious decisions to make if they want to be anything close to a contender this year, or if they want to build towards the future. And that's the main decision. Which direction are you going to go? Hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you'll hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. NBA content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.